The night was quiet on Earth when the broadcast came. It was not through radio, not through television, and not through the internet. It came from the sky itself, from a signal no human had ever heard before. Satellites around the planet caught it first. At first, scientists thought it was just noise from space, maybe static from a star. But then the sound changed. It became clear. It became words. And those words were not human. Across the globe, observatories and listening stations replayed the signal. A voice echoed through the static, deep, cold, and full of something that felt like hate. It spoke in a strange language, yet within minutes translation programs began to shape its meaning. The more people listened, the more the world froze in fear. The message was simple but brutal. The voice mocked. It called humanity weak. It called humans animals who played with machines they did not understand. It said Earth was small, fragile, and ready to fall. It said the galaxy was already watching, already laughing at humanity's arrogance. And then the voice gave a warning. It said, "Prepare yourselves, for in 1 year we come. Not to speak, not to trade, not to share knowledge. We come to burn. We come to destroy. We come to take everything you think belongs to you." It was not a message of peace. It was not even a threat. It was a promise of conquest and death. At first, only governments and military leaders heard the full broadcast. But secrets do not stay hidden for long. Within days the message leaked. It spread through social media, news stations, and underground forums. Everyone heard it. Everyone knew it. Earth was no longer just home. Earth was a target. People reacted with disbelief. Many thought it was fake, a cruel joke, maybe some hacker playing with global systems. But experts came forward. The signal was real. Its source was traced far outside the solar system. No human technology could have created it. Panic followed. Some cried in the streets. Some prayed. Others screamed that the end was near. Markets crashed. Schools closed. Riots broke out in some cities. Fear spread faster than the signal itself. Yet in the halls of power, in secret rooms where leaders gathered, fear turned into something else. Questions filled the air. Who sent this? Why now? How much time do we really have? What do they know about us? Scientists studied the hidden data buried in the broadcast. Within the static, they found strange patterns. They found images of star systems, maps of distant skies, maybe even the home of whoever sent the message. But there was more. Alongside the insults and threats, the broadcast included a recording. It showed alien warships descending on a world no human had ever seen. The footage was clear, terrible, and unforgettable. Cities on that alien planet burned in firestorms. Massive ships rained destruction from the skies. Creatures ran for their lives, their screams caught in the signal. Then silence. The voice returned, colder than before. This was one of many. Earth will follow. The world could not look away. Every television, every phone, every computer showed the same thing. Children saw it. Parents saw it. Soldiers saw it. The broadcast was everywhere, and no one could escape it. Fear grew, but so did something else. Deep inside humanity, beneath the panic and the terror, another feeling began to rise. Anger. The insult cut too deep. The mockery was too sharp. Humanity had fought wars before. Humanity had survived disasters before. And now, across the world, ordinary people began to whisper, "If they come, we will fight." In laboratories, scientists worked without sleep, searching for answers in the broadcast code. In bunkers, generals made plans they had never dreamed of before. Politicians stood before their nations, struggling to calm their people but unable to hide their fear. Across every land, across every sea, humanity was forced to face a truth it had never faced before. We are not alone, and those who found us do not come as friends. Days turned into weeks, but the broadcast never stopped replaying. It repeated again and again, almost as if the aliens wanted Earth to never forget their words. And Earth did not forget. On quiet nights, people looked up at the stars and wondered which of them carried the enemy. On dark mornings, workers built new machines, new weapons, driven by both fear and rage. Families clung together, children asked questions their parents could not answer, and across the globe a single thought grew stronger: they are coming. But unknown to the aliens, their broadcast had done more than spread fear. It had awakened something else. Something ancient. Something dangerous. Humanity's fury. And when fury takes root, it never sleeps. The broadcast did not fade. Even after weeks, the memory of that alien voice remained like poison in the air. People everywhere lived with it, dreamed about it, feared it. But inside the highest halls of power, the fear was quickly forced aside. Leaders of nations who once argued now sat at the same table. Old enemies, bitter rivals, all knew one thing: the broadcast had changed everything. The message was clear: Earth had 1 year before destruction. No country could face it alone. In secret meetings under mountains and deep inside hidden bunkers, generals spoke of strategies. Scientists brought data, engineers brought designs, and intelligence officers reported the little they could discover. Every screen showed the same star maps hidden in the alien signal. They were coordinates, but to where? Some experts believed it was the homeworld of the enemy. Others thought it was simply a show of strength, a reminder that Earth's location was no longer secret. The debates were endless, but one truth kept them united: humanity had to prepare. Factories that once built cars began to build weapons. Space agencies turned their eyes not to Mars or the Moon, but to defense. In underground labs, researchers worked on energy weapons, shield systems, and propulsion drives once thought impossible. Billions of dollars flowed into black projects, and thousands of the best minds on Earth vanished into secret work they could not explain. Outside, the world still trembled. Streets filled with protests. Some cried for peace, begging leaders to surrender before war even began. Others demanded revenge, chanting for armies to rise and strike the stars before the enemy arrived. Fear pulled humanity in 2 directions, but rage began to grow stronger. The images from the alien transmission, the burning cities of another world, played over and over on every channel. It was a warning, but it became fuel. Humanity saw not just victims but a reflection of what could happen to Earth, and they hated it. Meanwhile, in hidden chambers, the military tested weapons they had never dared to reveal. Prototypes of railguns, orbital cannons, and plasma research appeared on testing grounds. Soldiers trained for battles in zero gravity. Engineers sketched massive ships, war machines larger than anything humanity had ever launched. The aliens had promised destruction, but humanity had decided they would answer with fury. Yet doubt still spread like shadows. Could humans truly fight a race advanced enough to speak across the stars? Could Earth's ships, fragile and few, stand against an empire that had already burned dozens of worlds? These questions haunted leaders as much as ordinary citizens. And then, as if the enemy wanted to deepen the wound, a second transmission arrived. This one was shorter, but even darker. It showed a fleet of alien ships, sleek and enormous, blotting out the stars. The voice returned, calm and cruel. Prepare yourselves. The cycle cannot be stopped. You are prey, and we are the hunters. We will take what is ours. Then silence. 4 hours, no one spoke. The Council of Leaders, now formed from every powerful nation, watched in silence. The fear inside the room was heavy, but then one voice broke it. A general from the east stood, his eyes burning. They think we will kneel. They think we will beg. But they do not know us. They do not know humanity. The words spread like fire. Within weeks, a new order was signed. Every shipyard worked day and night. Every scientist was given resources without limit. Every soldier trained as if tomorrow was the day of war. And slowly, the whispers began. Rumors spread of a project hidden deeper than all others, a weapon unlike anything seen before. Nobody knew what it was, but some claimed it was a fleet, Others claimed it was a single weapon so powerful it could burn entire fleets at once. The truth remained secret, but the fear of the aliens had awakened something dangerous: human unity. For the first time in history, humanity was not divided by borders, races, or beliefs. They were united by fury. Children grew up hearing of the coming war. Schools taught survival drills. Television and radio repeated the call to prepare. Even those who were afraid began to change. The more they saw of the aliens' cruelty, the more their fear turned into hate. Around the world, humanity was transforming. The aliens believed their broadcast would weaken Earth, that it would break them before the war even began. But instead, it had forged something far more dangerous. It had forged a world of billions into one will, one fury, one voice that whispered into the dark of space: "If you come for us, we will fight. And when humanity fights, we do not stop." The days after the second transmission changed humanity forever. Fear had not vanished, but it had transformed into something else, something sharper, something alive. Across every continent, people spoke not of surrender but of survival, not of hiding but of fighting. The images of alien fleets, the burning cities of another world, were no longer seen as warnings. They were fuel for a fire that grew inside every human heart. Humanity had been insulted, mocked, and threatened, and history had shown one lesson again and again. When humans were pushed, they did not break, they struck back. In hidden bases, engineers built machines they had never dreamed of building. Factories worked without rest, turning steel into warships, turning science into weapons. Laboratories glowed with experiments that once would have been banned, now rushed into existence with no questions asked. The fear of extinction gave birth to invention. Every failure was met with anger, every success was met with cheers, and the work never stopped. Soldiers marched in training fields, pilots practiced in simulators, and every man and woman who could serve volunteered. It was not patriotism anymore. It was fury, it was survival. Even criminals and outcasts found themselves offered choices: fight for humanity or be left behind. And almost all chose to fight. Rumors of the secret project spread further. Some whispered of massive ships larger than cities, hidden in dry docks carved into mountains. Others said scientists had cracked alien code from the transmission and were building weapons to turn it against them. Nobody knew the full truth, but the whispers themselves gave hope. For the first time, humanity was not divided by nations, but united by a single enemy. Old flags no longer mattered. Earth itself had become the flag. Yet anger came not only from leaders and soldiers, it came from ordinary people. Families who had seen the alien recordings vowed never to let Earth burn the same way. Farmers gave up crops for resources. Miners dug deeper for rare metals needed for engines and weapons. Students trained in emergency drills. Children drew pictures of starships with human flags fighting back against the alien monsters. Humanity was not preparing only for defense, they were preparing for vengeance. And still, scientists searched the alien transmission for more secrets. In the patterns of the static, they discovered traces of dozens of other broadcasts sent across the galaxy. Other civilizations had heard these same words before Earth, but none had answered. Those civilizations were gone. Their worlds turned to ash. The aliens thought Earth would be the same. But Earth was not the same. Humanity did not bow, did not beg, did not break. Humanity grew angry. And anger gave them strength. The first test of a new weapon shook the desert of Nevada when a railgun prototype fired a round that split the sky with fire and thunder. In Russia, engines roared as the first experimental warship rose into the stratosphere. In China, underground reactors powered shields that shimmered like walls of light. And across Europe, secret laboratories hummed with projects hidden from even their allies. The world was awake, alive, and moving faster than it ever had before. Still, the leaders knew the truth. The enemy was far more advanced, their fleets older, larger, stronger than anything humanity had. But the leaders also knew something else, something the aliens had forgotten. Humanity had always been underestimated. Empires on Earth had tried to conquer them, tyrants had tried to control them, disasters had tried to erase them, and still humanity endured. Now it was not only about survival. It was about revenge. The word spread everywhere. They will come, and when they do, we will be ready. Humanity's fury had been born, and once it was born, it could not be put back to sleep. Children went to bed dreaming of warships. Soldiers wrote letters to families promising they would fight until the end. Scientists whispered that their projects might change not just the battle but the galaxy itself. And deep within the silence of space, in the shadow of Earth's moon, the secret project grew closer to completion. A weapon that no alien voice could mock. A weapon born not of fear but of rage. The aliens thought their broadcast had broken humanity. But instead, it had awakened something far more dangerous, the fury of a species that refused to die. The year moved faster than anyone believed possible. Factories screamed with the sound of production, laboratories burned with experiments, and soldiers filled the skies with training drills. Humanity had prepared, humanity had built, and humanity had changed, but nothing could truly erase the question that haunted every leader and every soldier. Would it be enough? The answer came without warning. It was a quiet night when telescopes first caught the movement near the edge of the solar system. At first it was just shadows against the stars, too large, too organized to be asteroids. Then the truth became clear. The enemy had arrived. Alien ships slid out of the dark, vast shapes blocking the light of distant suns. They did not hide, they did not move in silence. They came like hunters approaching prey, confident, unstoppable, and cruel. The signal followed minutes later, flooding Earth's channels once again. The alien voice laughed, taunting, mocking humanity for its attempts to prepare. "You have built your toys," the voice said, "but toys do not save prey from the hunt." The broadcast spread across every device, forcing the people of Earth to listen as their enemy announced their doom. But this time something was different. Humanity did not tremble, humanity did not beg. Across the world, eyes filled not with fear but with rage. Governments gave the order. Fleets rose into the sky. For the first time in history, Earth's united armada gathered at the edge of space, waiting. The first human ships were small compared to the alien giants, their weapons simple compared to the sleek and ancient technology of the enemy, but they carried something more powerful than metal. They carried fury. When the two sides met near the orbit of Neptune, the silence of the void broke. Alien ships moved with cold precision, forming lines of fire. Human ships answered with chaos, charging forward, firing everything they had. The first shots tore through the black, missiles streaking like fire across the stars. Explosions lit the void as ships collided, and for the first time, the aliens felt resistance. They had expected fear, but they found fury. Human pilots fought as if every shot was their last, as if every life depended on their courage. Fighters swarmed like hornets, diving into the shadows of alien hulls, striking and vanishing before the enemy could lock on. Larger human warships held formation, their guns blazing, their shields shaking under alien fire but refusing to fall. The aliens broadcast again, this time in anger, calling humans reckless animals, calling them desperate and foolish. But still the humans fought, and still the battle raged. Minutes turned into hours, and what was supposed to be a slaughter became something else. The aliens, for the first time in memory, faced losses. Their ships, larger and stronger, began to fall to the relentless attacks of a species too stubborn to die. A single human destroyer rammed into the side of a cruiser, sacrificing itself but tearing the alien vessel in half. A squadron of fighters lured enemy ships into the path of hidden railguns, the blast ripping through alien armor. The cost was terrible. Human ships burned by the dozens, pilots screamed into silence as their vessels tore apart, but they did not stop. Every death fueled the rage of the survivors. Every loss was answered with a strike. The first battle of humanity against the invaders became a storm of fire and fury that lit the edges of the solar system. And then something unexpected happened. In the chaos of the fight, human engineers intercepted a signal pulsing between the alien ships. It was not part of the broadcast meant for Earth. It was tactical, raw data flowing between fleets. The message was captured and rushed back to Earth. Scientists worked in hidden bunkers, decoding it as the battle raged above. What they found made blood run cold. The fleet that had arrived was only a fraction of the enemy's strength, a scouting force, a test. The real army had not yet come. Humanity had won its first small victory, but in doing so they had uncovered a terrifying truth. The aliens were countless, their fleets stretched across the stars, their power beyond imagination. Earth had survived the first encounter, but the war had only just begun. As the battle ended with fire still burning across the black sky, as the surviving human ships limped home with scars of war, the people of Earth did not cry in despair. They cheered. They wept with pride. For the first time, humanity had faced the enemy and lived. For the first time, the galaxy had seen that Earth would not kneel. But the leaders knew the truth that their people did not. The enemy had underestimated humanity once, but they would not make that mistake again. The next time the fleets came, they would come with everything. And so, as Earth mourned its dead and celebrated its heroes, the secret project continued in silence, hidden from all but the highest eyes. Humanity's fury had survived the first encounter, and now it would be forged into a weapon powerful enough to shake the stars. The first battle was over, but its echoes shook the world. Humanity had fought and bled and somehow survived, but the victory was thin and fragile. Half the fleet was lost, thousands of lives were gone, and yet the enemy had only sent a fraction of their true strength. This truth was the darkest part of all. The intercepted signal, carried in fragments from the alien fleet, revealed the scale of the nightmare. The invaders were not a single empire, not a small band of raiders. They were a vast and ancient power, a war machine that had consumed civilizations for centuries. The data told stories of worlds that had fallen, of species that had resisted and been wiped out, of entire star systems turned to silence. Humanity was not the first to hear the broadcast. Dozens, maybe hundreds, had heard it before, but none had lived to tell the tale. The enemy's pattern was cruel but perfect. They would announce themselves, mock their prey, break their spirit with fear, and then descend with overwhelming firepower. The broadcast was not just a threat, it was tradition, a ritual of conquest repeated across the galaxy. And yet, for the first time in their long history, something had gone wrong. Earth had not broken. Earth had not surrendered. Earth had fought back. And in doing so, humanity had broken the cycle. Scientists studied the captured alien data with sleepless eyes, trying to understand the enemy, trying to learn every weakness. What they found was terrifying. The aliens had destroyed at least 40 known civilizations, each one left as rubble and ashes. The broadcasts were like signatures carved into the void, taunting messages to the stars that no one survived to answer. Humanity was supposed to be number 41, another forgotten story. But now Earth was awake, angry, and ready to carve its own answer into the galaxy. Hidden deep underground, in facilities shielded from even satellite eyes, the secret project continued. Few knew its name, fewer still knew its details, but whispers said it was not just a weapon, not just a ship, but something larger, something meant to change the balance of power forever. Engineers spoke in hushed voices of dark energy drives, of reactors that could bend space itself, of weapons that could tear through fleets with a single strike. Some said the project was too dangerous, that it might destroy humanity before the enemy ever arrived. But leaders knew they had no choice. If the enemy brought overwhelming force, then humanity had to meet it with something even greater. While the project advanced in shadows, the people of Earth demanded answers. News of the alien history, of the dozens of fallen worlds, could not stay hidden forever. When the truth leaked, the world fell silent. For days there was no laughter, no music, no joy. Only quiet mourning for civilizations humanity had never met, for species erased before humans had even known they existed. But after the mourning came something else. Rage. Humanity saw the faces of those alien victims, burned into the recordings left behind, and they swore vengeance not only for themselves but for all who had fallen before them. Politicians stood before their people and spoke words of fire. "We are not only fighting for Earth," they said. "We are fighting for every voice that was silenced, for every world that was burned. We will not be number 41. We will be the first to answer. Factories roared louder. Soldiers trained harder. Families gave their last to support the war effort. The world itself seemed to tremble with determination. And in the skies above, the scars of the first battle still glowed. Wreckage of alien ships drifted in silence, proof that the enemy was not invincible. Humanity studied every fragment, every broken weapon, every piece of alien armor, searching for clues. Slowly, painfully, they began to learn. Weaknesses were found. Patterns were mapped. The enemy was mighty, but not perfect, and imperfection could be broken. Still, time was short. The intercepted signal spoke of a second fleet, larger, stronger, already on its way. Earth had only months before the storm returned. Leaders pressed the secret project harder, demanding progress, demanding results, demanding the weapon that could turn humanity's fury into something unstoppable. In the shadows of mountains and the depths of oceans, the project grew. And though its details remained hidden, one truth was whispered across the planet. When the second fleet arrived, humanity would not fight with desperation alone. They would fight with the dark secret they had forged from fire, fury, and survival. And when that weapon was unleashed, the galaxy itself would learn the price of mocking Earth. The warning came as expected, but heavier than anyone imagined. The second fleet entered the edge of the solar system like a storm of fire. Hundreds of alien warships filled the black sky, their weapons glowing, their confidence unshaken. They came with laughter in their signal, promising to finish what the first fleet had failed to do. "You resist like insects," the alien voice said. "Now you will be crushed like insects." But this time humanity was not unprepared, not desperate, not blind. This time they had weapons, they had fury, and they had the dark secret. Earth's fleets rose again, larger than before, ships built in record time, armed with weapons tested in silence. Railguns thundered, missile silos opened, and plasma beams cut across the void. But the true weapon was hidden, waiting for the right moment. The alien fleet advanced, their formation perfect, their confidence unbroken. The first clash was brutal. Human ships fell under the weight of alien fire, shields cracked, engines died, but still they fought. Squadrons of fighters dove like meteors, striking at the weak points engineers had discovered in alien designs. Destroyers rammed into cruisers, sacrificing themselves to break formations. Space itself lit with fire as the two sides tore each other apart. Yet as powerful as humanity fought, the aliens still pressed harder. Their numbers were too great, their fire too heavy. Human fleets bent under the storm, and it seemed the end had come. Then the order was given. The secret project, code-named Fury's Wrath, was unleashed. From the shadows behind the moon, massive ships emerged, ships larger than anything humanity had ever built, their hulls black as night, their shapes unlike any design seen before. Powered by dark energy reactors, armed with weapons that twisted physics itself, they were humanity's answer to extinction. The aliens paused for the first time, their signals flickering with confusion. And then the wrath of Earth was released. Beams of energy, pure and silent, cut through space and split alien warships in half. Missiles unlike any seen before struck with explosions that consumed entire formations. Railguns mounted on the giant ships fired rounds the size of houses, tearing through enemy armor like paper. The void burned with human fire, and the alien fleet began to fall apart. The laughter in their broadcast turned to silence, then to screams, then to chaos. Their formations shattered, their ships scattered, and for the first time in their long history, the hunters became the hunted. Humanity pressed forward, relentless, merciless. Every alien ship destroyed was a message to the galaxy: Earth will not kneel. Pilots shouted in triumph, soldiers cried with rage, engineers wept as their creations proved their worth. The great warships of the Fury's Wrath project pushed into the heart of the alien fleet, unstoppable, unbreakable. And as the enemy tried to regroup, humanity revealed another surprise. They had not only built weapons, they had learned to turn the enemy's own signal against them. Scientists had cracked the alien code and now used it to jam communications, to sow confusion, to blind their coordination. Alien ships crashed into each other, unable to hear commands, while humans pressed every advantage. One by one, the enemy fell. But humanity did not stop at defense. The leaders gave a new order, one that would change everything. Push them back. Do not wait for another fleet. Take the fight to them. The surviving human fleet, led by the massive ships of Fury's Wrath, left the edge of the solar system and moved into alien space. The galaxy had never seen humans move beyond their cradle in force, but now humanity advanced with the fire of vengeance. The aliens, once so proud, sent desperate pleas into the stars, calling for the Galactic Council, begging for help. And the Council answered, but not as they hoped. The Council, long silent, finally spoke. You awoke their fury. You mocked what you did not understand. Now you will face them alone. The words struck like thunder, and the aliens realized their mistake. They had thought Earth would be easy prey, another world to burn, another civilization to erase. Instead, they had created their own doom. Humanity struck harder, deeper, pushing into their lines, burning their worlds, tearing down their fleets. And as the war spread beyond the solar system, a single truth echoed across every star. Humanity had been insulted, humanity had been threatened, and humanity had answered with fury. And that fury would not stop until the enemy was ashes. The war had changed, and the galaxy itself now watched in silence. What was once a ritual of conquest had become a nightmare for the conquerors. Humanity had pushed past fear, past despair, and now lived only in fury. The alien fleets that once arrived with laughter were shattered, their wreckage drifting across the stars as monuments to human rage. And yet humanity did not stop. Earth's leaders gave a command that echoed through every soldier, every pilot, every worker: take the war to their home. For centuries the aliens had burned others, had mocked and crushed weaker civilizations, but no one had ever carried fire back into their territory. Humanity became the first. The great warships of the Fury's Wrath project led the way, their dark hulls glowing with energy, their weapons tearing through space itself. Fleets of human ships followed, scarred but relentless, carrying the vengeance of an entire world. When they entered alien space, the invaders fought with desperation, throwing wave after wave of ships against the humans. But fury cannot be stopped. Every fallen human vessel was answered with 10 alien wrecks. Every loss made the survivors fight harder. The war turned into a storm of fire that devoured planets. Alien strongholds fell one by one, their cities burning as humanity carved its revenge into stone and steel. The same broadcast that had once mocked Earth now became the aliens' own curse. Humanity captured it, changed it, and sent it back across the stars. But this time the words were different. The voice was human, hard and merciless. You came to destroy us. You came to mock us. But now it is your worlds that burn. This is our answer. Across the galaxy, other civilizations listened in silence. They had once feared the invaders, once believed no one could stop them, but now they heard humanity's fury and saw their tormentors fall. The council remained quiet, watching, knowing the balance of power had shifted. The aliens, who had once ruled through fear, were now the ones begging for mercy. They sent desperate signals, promising peace, promising surrender, promising to leave Earth alone forever. But humanity did not forget the first broadcast. They remembered the insults, the laughter, the promise of fire. And they answered with the same fire. Human fleets pressed deeper, and the alien homeworlds that had once felt safe now trembled. Cities that had never known war now burned under human guns. Skies that had only carried the alien flag now glowed with the light of human fury. Yet even in victory, humanity was changed. Soldiers who fought in the void no longer smiled. Their eyes were cold, their voices hard. The war had burned away innocence. Humanity was no longer just a young species from a small blue world. They had become something else, something the galaxy would never forget. On Earth, people watched the broadcasts of victory with both pride and fear. They cheered when alien fleets fell, they wept for their dead, but they also whispered about what humanity was becoming. They had wanted survival, but they had become conquerors. Still, there was no turning back. The Council of Leaders declared that the war would not end until the alien threat was erased forever. And so humanity kept burning, kept striking, kept unleashing the rage that had been born from a single voice in the dark. At last the great alien capital fell, its defenses torn apart, its skies filled with fire. The surviving rulers of the invaders sent their final message, not of mockery but of terror. "Spare us," they begged. "We did not know. We did not understand what you are." Humanity answered with silence, and then with fire. When the capital was ash, the war was over. But the story was not. Across the galaxy, whispers grew. Other civilizations asked, if this is what they do when attacked, what will they do when challenged? The Council, silent no longer, spoke to all. Remember the fate of those who mocked Earth. Remember the fury of humanity. They are not prey. They are not weak. They are rage given form. And on Earth itself, as people tried to rebuild, as families mourned and heroes were remembered, a new transmission was received. It did not come from the defeated enemy. It came from somewhere else, somewhere far, somewhere older. The signal was short, only a single sentence. "We have watched. And now we will come." Humanity, scarred and hardened, looked up at the stars once more, and their fury did not fade. For they knew one truth, carved into history by blood and fire: those who awaken the fury of Earth will never escape its wrath.